Hi, welcome to FVTV Zoom room. None new Zoomy in the room tonight. Keith Fahey, well-known footballer to me and Neil anyway. Neil,
how are we doing, lads?
How are we getting on?
Keith.
Neil, just before this, you were saying how he nutmegged you and made a fool out of you in the game, so I thought that was a good place to start.
Yeah, I'd say he did it more than once, in fairness, because like Keith, you played on the wing a good bit in your League of Ireland early days anyway. When you went to Birmingham, were you more midfielder or?
Yeah, I played a lot in the wing with Pats early on, like when I was quite young and stuff. And when I went to Birmingham, then I played in the wing as well a lot. Left wing, played for Drogheda left wing. So and Johnny McDonald used me a lot in the middle as well, you know. So
you kind of played four central midfielders at Birmingham, Keith, didn't you? Across the park.
We played with more often than not. It would have been Barry Ferguson and Lee Bowyer in the middle. Seb Larson on the right, myself or James McFadden on the left. I was like a second left back.
Because they're running, is it?
Just because when I played with Drogheda, Paul Doolin, big defensive tactics, and I actually learned a good bit, so it was preparing me for something, you know. And then when I went to Birmingham, played on the left an awful lot, and done well in the Championship attacking, but when I went into the Premier League, it was more to picking up loose ball and hooking in and that, you know what I mean? So
just going back there,
up there. Keith, no, I was cracking up, you know.
Just going back there, Keith, when footballer comes on, so like we'll just ask you like where. Again, we've told all our stories and stuff, but where did your story start in football? Like, where was your inspiration, players? Like, what was your first love of the game?
Yeah, started back probably about 5-6 years of age. I don't know how I ended up playing it, but I ended up playing up with my local side up the road, Time and Bond. My favourite team, I think, growing up, I think I was Liverpool for a little bit, and then I went to Arsenal. I used to love Ian Wright. Ian Wright, yeah, I loved Ian Wright, and I loved the goals. The celebrations and all that. I just loved football. I loved being with a football. I still do, like, even now, like, you know. So, and it just grew and grew and grew. And thankfully, it didn't serve me too badly, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you pick up any kind of traits of Ian Wright in your career when you were playing that you would say?
I would have been quite moany, I think. number 8 award down at Pats as well, so that was another thing, same red and white jersey. So other than that, some of the goals maybe, celebrations not so much.
Yeah. No, because I would have watched Eric Cantona and Roy Keane, I suppose, growing up a lot playing. And you kind of pick up, you know, some things that you did. Like I watched them over and over again, you know, little clips or whatever you could get a hold of at that time. Videos, local VHSs for the local shop. But you just try to kind of replicate everything, and you did replicate a couple of things into your game from watching other players play. That's the kind of point I was kind of getting at.
Yeah.
And how about, was it Cherry Orchard where your schoolboy club?
Time and Bond, firstly. I didn't leave. Right. Like, I remember when I was playing with Time and Bond, I used to play like for a couple of teams nearly my own age, a year up and sometimes a year up after that and stuff. But Cherry Orchard would have wanted to sign me when I was probably 9 years of age, 10 years of age, and I didn't go because, like, going from Tala down to Ballyfermot, my dad didn't have a car and any of that stuff. So I ended up going when I was about 12, 13, and I used to score a lot of goals here with Time and Bond and stuff like that, and I don't remember why I left, but I suppose my dad guided me, need to go somewhere else, and I went down there, and I played about 2 or 3 years down there and then went away, you know.
It's not a bad year or bad age to leave, you know, like obviously you had a big group of friends is it Time and Bond? Is it what
that's the name of the club. Like, I'm an old Bond here. I live very close to the stadium, Tala Stadium there. So
all right.
It's sorry, go
keep
ahead.
with your friends when you're that age before going to a more serious club at, 13 or 14, not a more serious club, but you know what I mean, a more, I don't know how you describe it, more serious, I
It would
suppose,
be more
really.
serious. Yeah, no, you're right. Like, I played here, and I used to love just going down, playing a bit. I played for fun, I played for fun anywhere I went, even when I wasn't at training. I had a football, so going down there was probably a little bit different. I used to remember getting the bus down. I used to be afraid of my life going down there on the bus on my own and stuff. So, and then I get the odd lift off managers and stuff down there. But yeah, it was kind of like I had to go somewhere else because I didn't even know I wanted to be a Premier League footballer or whatever. But if I did want to develop, I had to go somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And would you have been like the best player in that club before you left? Like, as in would you have the experience that? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was. No, I didn't always believe. We had a very good side. Like, we had Jonathan Daly, Wayne Henderson, Sean Dillon came a year later. We had a good outside. We did. Barry Lyons was another lad. Barry Rennick. We had a very good side. Yeah, Mark Rooney and that. But yeah, go
I
ahead.
kind of have a theory that, like, it might have allowed you a chance to stay, very creative. You're a very creative player ultimately. And that if, sometimes when you go to a more serious team, they want you to pass the ball around a bit more. Whereas perhaps at the younger club, you could keep the ball and take fellas on, and they were relying on you to kind of score goals. Or was that your kind of experience? Or
when I went from Twyma Barn, I probably played right back and centre back an awful lot.
Okay.
And then when I went to Cherry Orchard, then I played centre back with the first group I was with. And then when the rule came in to go to January 1st, I dropped down a year. So I went to another team, and he said, "You're wasted at centre back. I'm going to play in midfield." So that was kind of me. I only played one season in centre midfield, and then I went away. Yeah, when I played in centre midfield, I just felt like the shackles were off me a little bit. You know what I mean?
I would never have thought you were centre back. I would never think as a centre back.
Yeah, I think it was one of them. Look, I had a good strike. I think any time I got a bit of space in front, I had a shot and scored.
Who was your man who put you in centre mid? Genius. Knew you were wasted there.
Look, John Burke was, yeah. John Burke and Jimmy McNevin. And yeah, that was it then, yeah. I think I missed out on a bit though, not playing centre back or centre midfield a little bit earlier. I never really, whether I wanted to listen defensively, I never really grasped a certain side of the game that I probably could have, you know what I mean?
And just talking about scouts then, and Keith, around that stage, as you said, you kind of went centre mid and then you kind of went. How did that all come about? And was there contact made? Did you know that they were looking at you or what? Or?
Yeah, I ended up going nearly every weekend. I was going somewhere in the last season. I went to a lot of clubs, went to about 14, 15 different clubs or something like that. And Arsenal were over doing, Liam Brady was doing like a coaching school with the DDSL, and I went over there, we played a game and stuff. I done really well, and he must have noticed something about me in training as well, because he come over once a month, I think, and they offered me a contract, and there was no hesitation. I went over and signed, they come over here actually and signed it.
It's a lot bigger in Dublin, actually, Neil, isn't it, than Cork? That kind of floating around schoolboys, like it's like almost American college football. There's fellas waiting in the wings and they're picking up players. The club, they're picking up players for there's big money in it as well. Like it's kind of
a bit more developed. The relationships were a bit more developed than they have been in Cork over the years.
The scouting system.
Yeah, it's kind of gone back a bit though in Ireland as a whole, isn't it? Like, as you said, you were going away every weekend. That was happening with a couple of players around the place. Like, you were all going to the same clubs at different ages. It's not like that now anymore, really.
I don't think it is. Like, I don't really get involved in it or anything like that. But I know our lads up there, they'd be probably watched by a few scouts and stuff. But I don't think you can take players over now. I know it's 18 now, isn't it? I think legally they say it's 16, and I'm not sure. Like, I know there's ways around it, but there wouldn't be as many as when we were playing back then. I know there was lads going away, and a lot of lads went away before me, and I used to be thinking, like, they're going away. I was like, he's shy.
Yeah.
That's the way my head used to think. And but once I started going, I kept going back and stuff, like, you know.
And did you like it? Obviously, like, you know, talked to a lot of fellas who went over. I didn't go over, Darren did. But, you know, there's so much trauma going on. You're so young. I've read about you, Keith, that maybe you were homesick or whatever. I'm not sure if that's true, but that seems to be a common thing anyway with people.
Did I like it? In a word, no, I suppose. Like, it changed really dramatically for me anyway. Like, I was going, probably started the show here with my team and stuff, and I'd be allowed to do what I wanted. And then I went over there and it just changed overnight, you know, like coaches shouting at you and stuff like that. And also the change as well, like I was 15 years of age. I didn't come from a stable home. I didn't come from like happy families and stuff like that. So I found it hard, like I would have been lost for an awful long time. And going over and living with someone in a house in Diggs and all, I just found very, very strange. And I never really adapted to it. Like, I didn't like, I used to spend a lot of time just sitting in my room. Like, I didn't like being around other families and stuff like that. But look, that was a lot of my own stuff, you know. I struggled big time over there, messed about a good bit at 15 years of age, done a lot of drinking and stuff. And
you're so young. I mean, you're so young,
you know, like, but I wouldn't have had the stable upbringing. I wasn't making good decisions, stuff like that. And look, it was my experience, and I'm thankful now, you know, that the way things worked out, I wouldn't change any of it, you know what I mean?
And just for that experience, Keith, obviously you came back to Ireland then. Was there kind of stage where you said, like, you know, I've had a bad time here in the UK here now, I'm going to really go to
Villa? Sorry, Darren. I think, did you go to Villa first before coming back?
Yeah, see, I had a bleeding attitude as well. I was like, I don't like Arsenal, I don't like the club, I want to go somewhere else and stuff. And then I ended up going to Aston Villa. They bought me from Arsenal and went to Villa, like, and I thought, like, I don't like it here. I went to Villa, and then after a while, the same kind of stuff happened. Like, I don't like it here. And
how old are you now at this stage, Keith?
I went to Villa just after I turned 17, I think. Okay. So I went to Villa and was playing well and stuff, but again, after a while, I was just fed up, like, you know.
Were you playing the first team that stage, Keith?
No, he wasn't in the first team. I remember I played a few reserve games, done really well, and I remember John Gregory saying to me, "Oh, look, we want you in the first team when you come back after the summer." And I wasn't ready. I wasn't mature enough. It kind of frightened me, you know what I mean? Like, I went to go to games and there'd be 40,000 at the game. I'm thinking, I'm not ready for that, you know. I came home and I didn't go back one summer as well. Again, I just was fed up, didn't go back. And then I got a phone call, you know, we're back in pre-season. I said, yeah, I'm not coming back. Like, so eventually I got sent home then as well. I got released then when I did go back. So I done well at Villa, I suppose, playing football, but just again could not settle, could not get used to living in Diggs, could not get used to. I didn't even like being around everyone all the time. You know what I mean? Like, I struggled big time. Like,
But I think that there's a lot of people who went over that age felt the same. Like, I read about Stephen Bradley talking about it, you know, kind of earlier as well. A lot of Cork fellas I know who are, like Roy Donovan speaks about it, and Joe about the difficulties they had. Like, I don't know if you're over blaming yourself there or something, or you know, I'd say it was very difficult for anyone. You know what I mean? Anyone comes into it, that situation, it's really tough.
Yeah, it is. It's tough. I think going into it, like I said, anyone going into it, so tough. Like, in the figures will tell you, like, stark, like, reminders of how tough it is to actually survive and stay and maintain and sustain the career over there. You know what I mean? It's so hard. But yeah, I was messing about, I suppose. I had to take responsibility.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
It's a dream for a lot of players, and especially younger players. You know, you see all the Manchester Uniteds, the Cantonas, the Keanes and stuff like that, and then you go into the academy, and as I said, you're constantly under pressure. You're fighting pure life inside there, trying to get a game, and then there's all the stuff going on the outside. I suppose when you grow up as a kid, you know, you go out to local game on a Saturday, you're the hero, and then you come home to your family and you're happy out or whatever, and you know, your friends, and you're comfortable. Whereas over there, everyone else seems to be comfortable except maybe the odd four or five that are in the academy that are traveling over, living in the digs or whatever. So it's definitely a different life, like, you know, to what it's portrayed to be.
Yeah, I think like until you're in it, like, and you see it and you're experiencing it, like people can tell you, look, it's great, you're living your dream and stuff like that, and then you go over, and I was just afraid. I was like, this fella wants my jersey, like, and what do you do then? You're kind of trying to search yourself, you know, the ego, a lot of ego in football, and I wouldn't survive without having a bit of an ego myself in there, you know what I mean? You have to, it's dog eat dog, it's cutthroat, and like that. When I went to Arsenal, there was lads coming in from Brazil, from Germany, from all over the world, and you're going, Jesus, like straight away I'm thinking, I'm not going to last here, I'm not good enough, like, you know, and it's just, and that's the stuff on the pitch, you know, it's a really cutthroat industry, and that's what I will be kind of trying to toughen our lads up a little bit as well, because like I think for kids growing up these days, all they see all the stuff and they want it, like I'm sure we were as well, but it's just so hard, like it's so hard, and I think it's important that we kind of test our lads mentally as well, and we throw little things at them that they're not going to like, you know what I mean? It's prepared, because when you do go over, all of a sudden it changes, and you're going, Jesus, what's after happening here? You know what I mean?
So then, when you came back, Keith, was it Pats you came back to initially, or?
I ended up playing with Bluebell for I'm not sure how long, like, but again, I was messing about a lot, and I ended up then playing a few games for Bluebell, and Eamon Collins then signed me at Pats, yeah.
And did you find, because I found this playing with Cork City, now I hadn't been to the UK or anything like that, but I found myself in a group of guys who I kind of got on great with at Cork City, who were kind of old first teamers, experienced guys who, do you know what? From there, really, I was just happy to be playing with Cork City. I don't know, did you have a similar experience at Pats when you arrived?
Do you know what? I got back training and playing games. When I played my first game down in Waterford, I think I come on, and I just loved it because number one, I was playing well, and there was fans at the games and all back then, and I kind of I just enjoyed the football then. Like my head was still in a bleeding savage state, but yeah, I suppose I just liked that I was home. That was the main thing. I was home with my dad was here, and I was just more comfortable with me familiar surroundings, I suppose, you know.
Were they a good bunch? You had some good players in that team.
Yes, I think when I went in, Paul Osam was playing, great lad, and yeah, great player as well. Yeah, we had some good players. We did. Charlie and Babsy was there.
Yeah, I remember marking them.
There was some great players in there, you know, and it was like the first season. As soon as I got on, I think I played the whole season then, and the cup final, sending off in the cup final. We won the League Cup that year as well, and we done all right in the league. Yeah, it was great. Like great times to be playing football.
Did things start feeling kind of normal for you, or like that things were back on track, or?
I'd be back on track playing my football, but off the pitch, I was doing I shouldn't have been doing. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
So like I was always struggling, like until like, not so long ago. I've always struggled. You know what I mean? So that was hard to like. It was hard, like you asked me about my teammates there, and look, I never felt part of any teams I played in because of what way my head was be, you know, at times. So I was always at a bleeding, always fighting with myself, but thinking it was everyone else, like, you know.
Right, that's interesting.
Yeah.
You would never thought that from the way you played either.
No.
You like, you know, you weren't over aggressive. Like it was like, I suppose, a conductor in an orchestra is what I would have kind of put you down as. You were just so like everything, like, you know, worked through you in the middle of the park. You were so comfortable on the ball.
Yeah, and that was it. Like you give me a football and take my teammates out and take everyone else out, I'm happy. Like, you know what I mean?
But it never even looked like, I'd agree with Darren, from playing against you, it looked like you were very happy with your teammates. And I know you're saying you weren't, not that you're not saying you weren't happy with your teammates, but you always looked like, honestly, you were you were the main part of it. They were all, anytime you scored, they were celebrating with you, as if, you know, they loved you, put it that way. But obviously in your head, it didn't feel that way.
It was probably more of it was in my head, but I'd say if you asked a lot of my teammates that I played it back then, what was Keith like? They'd probably say, I was fucking mad, like, you know what I mean? So it's like, I probably do build it up more in my head, but I always, the way I felt like, and feelings aren't always reality, but it's always like, it's not like this, I'm not part of this team, or, you know what I mean? So.
And is that something you feel better about these days, like looking back? Or did you get some kind of clarity on that for yourself? Like,
yeah, I have
through the years.
Yeah, I do. Like, I do an awful lot of work on myself, and I like
Brilliant.
Over the years, like I've got a level of acceptance and stuff, like, so. Yeah.
Well, to even talk about it is encouraging, like, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Like, I talk about people kind of go like that, and go, "Jeez, I didn't know that," or whatever. Look, and I'm sure people that I was around and all kind of, what the fuck is up with this fella? You know, like, I came from, like, I know we're talking about football, but I think it's all relevant. Like, I came from a broken home and stuff like that, you know, and I always felt like I had to fight for everything, and I had to fight you for everything, and you know, and if things didn't go my way, I'd throw me bleeding dummies out of pram and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's all relevant, and in a way it kind of drove me as well, you know. It was one of them that I'll show these, like, I'm important, you know what I mean? So
you used it in a positive way, really, didn't you?
Yeah. I did, and I could have ruined it all, I don't know, many times through carrying on and stuff, like, so thankfully things worked out in the end.
You must have a good like mental toughness about you, because you know when you go through these situations and you look back, like, to make it where you did in the end, even to now, do you know what I mean? You do have to be mentally strong in some capacity, like, and that's football down to, like, you have to be mentally strong, like, it's such a big part of the game.
Yeah, 100%. I do always say that to our own boys as well, you know. And like, I say I'm lucky today. Like, I had played family issues when I was younger, which probably toughened me up. I had to be tough. I had to learn pretty quickly, but and it wasn't all great stuff, you know what I mean. The stuff that I learned to play and not trust people and all that type of stuff. And but I did learn that, look, I keep going, and so it probably stood to me in the long run. And yeah, I will be, like, again, I don't give myself enough credit. I will be quite mentally tough, like, you know what I mean. And
I think your career speaks for itself in terms of mentally tough. I think Darren's spot on about that, and you are too, Keith. I mean, I looked at guys who went back to leave Ireland and went over again, and most of them, they spent maybe 1 or 2 years in the League of Ireland, or you know, you spent about 5 years, 6, you know, with Pats, and then went and played Championship and Premiership and with Ireland. Like, that's an unusually long kind of turnaround, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
it
again,
takes a lot of mental strength.
I remember playing well anyway. I was at Pats, I thought, like, I'm playing well. Even looking back now, it would have been very raw. Like I said earlier, I wouldn't have, like, defensively and stuff like that, whether I listened or I was able. It was just, there was times where I wouldn't switch on to certain areas of the game. But I suppose just at the losing the train of thought there, what I'm saying. But
so you basically, you spent about 5 years in the League of Ireland, which was after 5, you know what I mean? Because a lot of guys, all right, they might come back, have 1 or 2 years and go over, but you seem to, you know, find your feet back here and then build yourself up. Like, that took fierce reserves, and to stay here for 5 years. Like, when I was looking, I was surprised you were here as long as you were before going back over. You know what I mean?
I think I was lucky as well. Like, you know, I played with, like, my last year before I went away, I played with some really good players, you know, like Gary Dempsey, Mark Quigley, Barry Ryan.
Very good team.
People that helped me as well, you know. So, yeah, and again, another thing that drove me, like, going back to being mentally strong, other players were going away. I remember there was a time where quite a few Shelbourne players went away and stuff like that. And I'm looking going, geez, I must be better than them. Like, what's the story? And I probably had a bit of a reputation that didn't do me any favours, and I had to keep going for probably longer than someone else would have. But I had this reputation. I had my history in England already. Kind of that was dogging me a bit as well. So, thankfully, you need a bit of luck as well, you know, and thankfully, things worked out, you know.
Did you have any offers before Birmingham came
no,
in?
Birmingham was the only concrete offer. I remember Andy Cousins actually had something to do with it. I remember he was keeping me in the loop, and he was saying, look, they're watching you. They couldn't judge me. They're saying it's a shit league and all, like, and then like I was scoring a lot of goals as well, which in my last season I scored something like 12 goals, the most I got in any of the seasons, and the European run I done really well in as well. So I think off the back I made a bid, and I remember being down Richard Sadlier. I think he was the CEO at the time, and we had an argument over it. Like, you know, he's like, look, he says these deals take time and stuff. I was like, how many of these fucking deals have you done? Like, you know what I mean? So I was just really anxious about it not happening and stuff. And I said, like, I made threats and all. I'll never play for this club again if it doesn't happen and stuff.
But it was definitely now or never, I'd say, Keith, because you were back so long. I'd say it could have been, no, I could be wrong, but it seemed like it was now or never at that point.
Didn't happen, like I would have just jacked it or something, you know what I mean? Like I could get so long out of that kind of mind frame, and then I'd set myself back by doing something silly, like, you know what I mean?
So how old were you then?
I was 25, just about to turn 26 before I went over, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so I say I was a bit more mature, I could say that, but they're just words.
It's all relative. It's all relative.
And how was the difference when you went over the second time? Obviously, you knew a bit more, you're a bit more experienced coming into probably your prime. Again, it was still dog eat dog, like, you know.
Yeah.
Probably more so in the championship.
Do you know what I loved when I went over? Straight away, training was high tempo. And stuff, runs I was making, I was being picked out, like balls I was playing, I was putting someone in, I was scoring goals and training, and I loved the intensity in training. I did, I really loved it, like, and I slotted in straight away, like, I done really well again in training and stuff. And when I got on the pitch, I done well. I had a little bit against Nottingham Forest early, and it was like a shanked across into the top corner, and look, I scored about 4 goals in the second half of the season. We got promotion and all that. So had a couple of bad games as well, where I remember playing in centre mid against Sheffield United, and I had an absolute beast. And I remember, I think Alec McLeish was like, I had a couple of good games, and he's looking at me going, what the fuck have we signed? Like, because he was wondering like how I was so bad, and maybe he was thinking, but look, I had a couple of bad games, more good, and few assists, a few goals, and then the last day of the season we got promotion. It was great. I scored and set one up and played really well. And,
yeah. Had you been on a 1-year contract or 2? What did you sign? Did you say that? Sorry.
I think I signed. What did I sign? I probably signed a 3-year or something.
All right.
And I was on shite money, like, you know what I mean? I was nearly on the same money at Pats, like, Pats were throwing out money at that stage anyway, but I was saying to my agent, like, at the time, is that, like, because I was told this is what you'd be getting when you go over, and I'm going, this would be great, and I go, is that what they're giving me? He said, yeah, they're saying you're very small. Helen Brady was the CEO or something at Birmingham, and my agent come in and go, she said you're very small.
How do you argue back from that?
Look, I was going to sign it anyway. I was going to sign whatever it was, because I knew it was a stepping stone. I knew that, look, I'm contract and stuff, and that's what I done. Like,
Bloody fairy tale stuff, to be honest with you, coming back for so long and then it working out when you went back. Like, that's literally 10 years later almost from when you first went over. Like,
yeah, it really
amazing.
is. Like, you know, it's madly, it's mad how it all happened. Like, you know, and just very grateful as well that it did. Like I said, football. The football's never served me badly. That's why even now I'm out on the road kicking ball because I get.
Right. And what was the Premiership like then when you went up there?
Yeah, the Premiership. It was a lot tougher, obviously. Like we just got promotion, and again, my dad died. God bless him.
Okay.
Dad died like a couple of weeks into the season and stuff, and
that's tough.
Yeah, it was a tough time. My dad got sick like as it went over and stuff, and that like again, I told you a little bit about my family home and stuff. Like my dad basically raised me, myself and my brother from young, and that was really tough time and stuff. But I kind of come home for the funeral, went back, missed the Spurs game, I think, and then was just back into training, back into like, oh, I need to be in the team and stuff, you know. So look, again, I look at it like I was lucky again because I don't suffer well with emotional pain, being honest with you, and I think that the football would have given me a good like something to keep me away from feeling that at the time, you know. So went back obviously, and yeah, first game was against United in Old Trafford, and it was great. Like it was great. Again, it was a bit. Looking back, it's just all very surreal, like, you know. Yeah, and then the season just continued. Then we done really well, like.
And were you in the Irish team? Were you the Irish setup when you got promoted, or were you in the Irish setup before that, the senior setup?
I think I got into the senior setup probably. I think it was probably about half. I think I was playing in the Premier League a little bit before I got a call up, and
so had your dad passed away by then, Keith?
Yeah, my dad had passed away then. He got to see me play my first game in Old Trafford. You know, like
brilliant!
Like,
wow.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Like, you know what I mean?
That's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah. My dad was great. He was, you know, like as a kid. Like I hear a lot of people, and I see it myself, like parents getting involved too much with their kids, you know what I mean? So get me to matches, didn't have a car, all that, but never influenced any of my decisions. Like, you know what I mean?
Brilliant.
Like, there you go, and he'd go down the other end of the pitch and watch the football, you know. So yeah, that served me well as well, because I made my own mistakes, and I made my own decisions, and I live or die by them, you know what I mean? Like, so
for him to see you in Old Trafford was, you know, that was right, that was apt, that was the right, you know.
Yeah, he hated United as well. He did. He hated United.
Did he?
What was the score in the game?
We hated United in this house. We lost 1-0. We lost 1-0, but we didn't we done all right. We played quite well. I played well, and so played in centre midfield. Yeah, it was great. Like, you know, a lot of people there watching me as well, friends and family and stuff, and like, I don't know what it was like for them, but I'm sure they enjoyed every bit of it, you know.
How did you find the difference in the Premier League? Was it a case of pace, time in the ball, you don't waste it?
Yeah, pace, decision making, runs, you know, like there'd be patterns of play, like, you know, when they'd be doing phases of play. There's a runner gone there before you're even looking, all that type of stuff. And certain teams, like I remember playing Chelsea. I was actually on the bench and I was watching Chelsea in Stamford Bridge against us, and they were just like a machine the way they played, like, and they were just great to watch. And United gave us a good hiding as well. One of the times Liverpool gave us a good hiding as well. But yeah, you're just coming up against, like, technically everything is done really, really quickly, really powerfully, and like you don't get tight to someone in midfield. I remember Damien Duff as well I was playing the left. I think he was playing the right. He came in one from the sideline, bumped by me, boom, 30 yards, bottom corner, like, you know what I mean? So it's that type of stuff. You don't, like, you might get that, I compared it to here and stuff, but you might get that every now and then, like, off the cuff stuff, but that was happening, like, that'd be going on every game, like, you know what I mean?
Wow.
Because people watch it, people watch the game, I suppose, and even coaching there now and stuff. You're doing a bit of coaching, the badges and stuff, and you're breaking down games and breaking down footage, and you know a lot of people step back and say, "Oh yeah, but he should have just picked him there, and you know he should have gone with that runner." But it's done in so quickly at such a high tempo and pace that like you can look at it all day long, but you can train for it all day long, but it's happening. Just it's happening. Just really try and be aware of it.
It is, yeah. It was really good. Like, who stood out for us in the league? Like, we played against obviously Paul Scholes, Rooney. Player I played with, Stephen Carr, was brilliant for us. Like, what a leader! Amazing technique on the ball as well. You know, he'd take the ball on a full sprint into his stride, and he led us really well. Barry Ferguson was brilliant for us as well. He had the best probably season of his life, the first season of Premier League. Lee Bowyer, brilliant as well. Played with some good goalkeepers, Joe Hart, Ben Foster. Was brilliant, it was, yeah.
And then on an international level, would you say it's a step up again?
Sorry, you broke up there in a second.
On an international level, would you say it's a step up again?
Would I say it's a step up? It was a little bit, I think it was a little bit slower. Okay. A little bit like more cagier or something, the games, you know. Would it be a step up? I didn't think it was. No, I didn't think it was. I thought like training was decent, with all training together and stuff. The matches were kind of real cagey. It was more like the teams didn't want to lose, like, you know. That's the kind of vibe I got from it. Obviously, it's international football, but you'd say it's the peak. But I didn't feel that way, you know.
Do you think the pace is taken out of it because, like in the Premier League, you're training day in and day out with the same players, whereas on the international setup, you don't get the time?
It could be that, yeah. It could be that you've more chances to work on phase of play and stuff like that. It could be something to do with that, yeah.
You played against Schweinsteiger as well, didn't you? In Germany.
Yeah, I was there.
What do you think of
him? Yeah, he was good. Obviously, I think Ozil as well played in that game as well. Yeah, they were very good that game as well. We got a good hide in that game. I think it was my last Ireland cap. We actually gave one of the jerseys away at a bingo. Bingo here on the road the other night, and I donated one of the jerseys from the Germany game. One of the young fellas won it down the road there, so I was delighted.
Oh, fair play.
Yeah. Wait, Keith, when do you think you were playing your best football? Would it have been in the Championship when you more time to express yourself, or was it in the Premiership, do you think? When your hot streak was, or
seeing the best of me, I suppose. Yeah. I would say in patches at Pats.
Okay.
Oh yeah. In the Championship, actually the second time we were in the Championship, so we went to the Premier League. We got relegated. I played really good football in the Championship under Chris Hughton, and I played in centre midfield more often than not. Like, so I had a good spell in there that time as well. But I think, like, in terms of being creative and running with the ball, driving with the ball, really driving with the ball and stuff, that would have been a Pats. Yeah.
Some great European results as well during that spell, didn't you?
Oh, we had a great run in Europe, yeah. We played Elfsborg, we beat them over 2 legs. We played some Latvian side that year as well, we beat them, and then Hertha beat us 2-0. But it was a great time for the club and all that, you know. It was really good, and I remember that being at Pats at that time, like, we had our own little kind of training ground. It wasn't our own, but it was like our own. We had our own little place to go when we come in, a bit of food and stuff, and yeah, it was just great again because it was home. We were going up there it felt like a proper football club and stuff like that.
And did you feel part of, at the time, because we were all kind of full time then, and a few Irish clubs were doing well, like Cork City, Pats, probably Bows, Shells at the time. Did you feel part of like things getting better in the League of Ireland? Did that interest you at all? Like the overall scene? Yeah.
Yeah, it was getting better. I remember I remember myself and Mark Quigley were doing well, and we were talking and Pats they were offering a fair few quid. I remember at the time I was trying to get away. I think I was telling Mark about it. He said, "Jeez, why would you go away? Like, we're getting paid well here and stuff." And it was good to be part of it. I suppose, like, looking at it, like, it's like that. It started to go like that, and then it just went. You know, and I think going away, it was when I went away, it was kind of. I'm not sure. I think the arse was ready to fall over.
Yeah, I think your timing was good.
You got the right timing. You missed it.
And then that's what happened, I think. And then when I came back, I expected it or wanted it to be the way it was, and it just wasn't. And I was very surprised, like, with some of the grounds. I know we've said it already, but some of the things I just couldn't. I thought, like, again, I started giving out about everything, but
they hadn't improved really the grounds.
They're just saying all the time, like, aren't they?
Yeah. It's a pity, like, you know, because I think the footballers, the lads here, they deserve a group effort by everyone and stuff. The fans, the ones that do go as well, deserve it, you know, like, and it's just a pity, you know.
But if you look at the amount of talent and the amount of young fellas that went to English clubs, like every other country, they have like a good structure, a good standard, you know, and their clubs are big clubs, big stadiums. It's just something to look up to, and it's a hell of a lot easier to kind of make it as a footballer at some stage, like, you know, not just to the Premier League, but you could be in your own country, you could be a professional quite easy.
100%. Darren, like, you're looking here, like, if you're gonna really, like, unless you're very lucky again, you play in a successful team here through a good few years. Is it gonna sustain you, like, financially and stuff? It isn't really, like, you know what I mean? It's a pity. Like, I know that the Dundalk lads would have done great out of, like, I'm sorry if I mentioned money a bit, because I think in my own football, I remember thinking, like, because I never felt good myself, I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll go and earn a few quid and that would sort me out, you know what I mean? And it didn't. But although, like, my drive to play football was to enjoy football, and then it was to earn money out of it, you know what I mean? Because thankfully, when I retired, I'm not worrying about bills and stuff like that. You know, that's just been my story. But the lads at Dundalk have done probably well financially with a bit of the run they've had, and they deserve it as well. You know, like, there's other teams in the league that, like, training an awful lot, putting a lot of hours in, and probably not getting the financial money, the money that they deserve as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I think in fairness, like, when we were playing back in the day, there was about 4 or 5 teams full time at the top of the league, even 6 who were really, really strong, and that helped us all in Europe afterwards because we pushed each other. Whereas Dundalk, in fairness, like, I know that it's a positive to being kind of out there ahead of everyone. I know Cork City chasing for a while and Rovers doing really well now, but they've almost done it on their own, and, like, I think they deserve massive of credit, especially the group of players they have. Because our problem was with Cork City anyway. I don't know if Pat's had the same problem. We couldn't keep players. We did well one year, and then we lose a few players to a club, and we go down again the next year. I don't know. Did you have that same problem at Pat's? Did you?
There seemed to be a lot of players coming and going. Yeah, like every season we used to. Who's going to come in now and stuff like that. Remember at times, like, they'd be playing 7 or 8 new players, and others just moved on as well, you know. No, didn't really feel like, you know, like, this is the way we're going, and we're set, and this is the way we're going. It was always like, how can we get in? We had players coming in, and at times I was wondering, like, we got a few long players, I think Collins was in charge, but you're wondering how long are these lads going to be here and stuff, you know. So
yeah. it's very kind of fly by the night stuff, I think. Whereas, wouldn't it be brilliant if, say, the Pats team you had, or were in, one of the better teams of the Pats teams that you were in, if you had like 4 good years in Europe to improve, because I don't know, you must have improved from playing in Europe, did you initially? Because certainly, I know from my own experiences, and Darren will tell you the same, like that's what you want to experience, and then you can come back and all of the whole team can improve and keep going. But if you're not playing enough in Europe, you're never gonna improve really.
Yeah, that was like, I remember Johnny as well, Johnny McDonald. We'd always work towards Europe, like, you know what I mean. Probably taking our eye off the league a little bit as well. I know Liam Buckley was similar as well, and Paul Doolan as well. Like, that was the real test, I suppose, for coaches as well. But yeah, look, you could get to Europe as well, and you could be out in the first round. So, like,
True.
like we were lucky again. The season I was there last season, we played 6 games, like 2 games against the Latvian side, who were poor, but it was an experience in itself. And Elfsborg was a brilliant like trip away, and then the game at home was brilliant as well. And there was more football played in the games, you know, like, not slagging the Irish league, but they were good players. They were technically very good, and I think for myself personally, it probably served me well that the ball was more often than not being trying to be played around. So, and then Hertha were okay. Like, they had a couple of good players, but for the spell, about 15 minutes, I think over there, we 15, 20 minutes, we got beaten in them kind of 20 minutes, you know.
Yeah, brilliant experiences for you though, and they'd probably serve you well, I'd say, going across, knowing, all right, I can play against Hertha Berlin. Now I'm going to the championship, and I'm like, if you hadn't have had those European experiences, it might have, you might have had those doubts in your head, like.
Yeah, definitely served me, you know. Mm.
Plus, you can slag the other lads in training that you played in the Champions League.
Yeah, UEFA Cup, was it?
What was it, UEFA Cup?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The qualifiers.
Where are you now, Keith? So you're coaching
I'm up with Rovers, yeah, Shamrock Rovers.
Oh, brilliant.
Myself and Padjo Flynn look after the under-13s, like, so a bit disappointing, obviously, like, with all this going on.
Yeah.
We're about a week or so away from starting the season and stuff, so good group of players, really good. They had a couple of individuals who are really good, obviously, like in any team, but with a good team spirit and all that, it's just like, when you come back now, it'll probably be like strangers, you know. So,
and do you enjoy it?
I enjoy it, yeah. I really enjoy it. I really do, yeah. I really do, yeah. I love going up. I love training the boys. I love trying to look after them, and like that, like I was saying earlier, testing them in ways that, like, they're probably going, like, you know. So, I think the hard thing is, like, at the moment, like, the parents trusting you that, like, if I'm leaving little Johnny out for this, you know, like, it's all, like, we spoke about mental toughness in football and stuff, like, and you have to realise that they're not going to get everything their own way as well, you know. So, no, I really enjoy it. I do. I really enjoy it. I love going up and just feeding off their energy, you know.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, and starting your coaching journey there now, like, and I see you have a badge there hung up in the background of you.
The badge there, yeah, it's my B licence. I need to get I'm halfway through the A licence. I don't mind up north.
And how are you finding the coaching side of the game? Because obviously coming in as a player, it's totally different. Like, I suppose there's a learning curve. You're learning all the time, and especially on the coaching badges. Now a lot of people are doing them, and it seems to be people are willing to educate themselves.
Definitely, yeah. I think the more people you speak to, the more you learn. Like, you know, once you're open to listen to other people as well. Because I would have thought I knew it all, like, as a footballer, but like, it's been good. Like, it's been a slow burner for me. I'm not, like, over the top mad about coaching, being honest with you. Like, I like being a bit of a mentor for the kids up there. I don't feel I overcoach anyway. And I think my kind of philosophy is that they need to kind of work things out for themselves as well. Like, you know what I mean? It can't be always, what do we do here? Like, you know, so I enjoy it. I do. I more enjoy the connection with them and stuff. You know, I think, like I said earlier, we built up a good bit of team spirit and stuff, and I think that there's other things that they could learn as well outside of football that I'm trying to help them with as well, which is supporting their families and all at this time as well, you know, like things like that, reconnecting, making sure they stay connected with each other while all this is going on and stuff, you know. So there's loads of chances to coach not just football, you know, life skills as well at the age which like we got great pleasure in it.
Well, I think isn't it crucial to know like the age they're at, having your experience of, you know, gone over to England at a very young age, you know how important it is to realise that these are young kids, like, and they might be the elite of Dublin, don't get me wrong, but they're kids ultimately, and I suppose you know that more than anybody.
Yeah, now they might be watching, so be careful. Yeah, look, again, it is. They need, like, it's so tough that if they are going to watch this, it is so tough and stuff like that. It is so tough, and although they're probably, I feel they're the best group in their age, and there's like I said, some good individuals and stuff. When they go to a bigger pool, that's going to be tougher again, and if they go up again, it's just going to tougher and tougher and tougher. So, like, you know what it's like when you go into and just go up the levels. You seem to kind of, you see players coming in, you go, geez, he's all right. I haven't seen him. Like, players just get better and better as we get older. Some players that are good now at the age I'm working with, they might not develop, or the other players develop a little bit quicker. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And would you say, would you say, like, in the future that you think, like, you've played under so many managers now, Keith, you know, and coaches, I suppose. Say, for example, a common coach who would have, well, he was my manager, Paul Doolan, he was your manager too, would be a brilliant coach, in my opinion. I'd imagine, like, going forward, you know, take each day as it comes, but like senior management might be something that you look forward to in the distant future, and you could use some of the learnings from those guys.
Yeah, I think, like, I don't know, like, whether I will or not. I just kind of just trying to take it as it is and where it brings me. I don't know. I don't have plans to do that. But if it, like, I don't know what's out for me. It's not out for me, I think. So I don't know where at the moment. But I already use some of the things, like, you know, like from certain managers and stuff. Like, I learned a lot. People skills from Chris Houghton. He was brilliant. He was. Paul Doolan, like, again, like, people skills wouldn't be a thing for him now, but he was a brilliant coach. Brilliant coach. And I learned a lot as well, like I said earlier, about tucking in the left side and stuff like that. Johnny McDonald was great at motivating us and all that. So there's stuff you take from every manager and every coach as well that I've worked with, you know. So.
And when you say Houghton's personal skills, we just make you feel kind of great, kind of.
Yeah, do you know what? He was just a very humble man that, like, had time for everyone and treated, like, the dinner ladies as well as he treated his players, like, you know what I mean?
Because he comes across that way. Sorry to interrupt. You know, I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, like, I played obviously a season for him. Remember, he played me on the left wing in the first game, and I said, I'm not going to play there this season. So I went into him, I was not playing there this season. I only played there last season because blah, blah, blah. He says, oh, you're telling me now. And so he put me in there, and then I had a couple of blading run-ins as well. Like, little story, funny now. After the Euros, we qualified. I didn't go back to train, then I was on the gargle. So I didn't go back. I was late going back, and, like, I remember he dealt with me fairly straight, and he said, look, are you okay to play on Saturday? Like, and that was it, you know, like, I got me fine or whatever I got, and that was it. Like, he just had a good way about him, and an excellent coach, an excellent manager as well. He wasn't just a good person, like, you know what I mean?
Brilliant. A hero of mine as well, from Euro 88, amongst other things.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's so important for coaches, especially going into coaching, that you had that background. Is there anything that you would have seen in the clubs, not just coaching management style, but even down to diet or training, that you would have said, wow, I haven't seen that before, or that's something I'd bring in, or anything like that? Or
training. No, not really. I don't think. Like, I count myself again very lucky that you know, like, in football, people take for granted. Like, we get taught a lot about what to eat when to train, when not to train, when to recover and stuff, like, and I still apply them things now at the moment, like, you know, like, I've eaten too many carbs there, I'll cut back for whatever, like, so I do try and tell our lads that as well, like, you're blessed, like, you know, even at, like, the time now, like, I still know I need to train, you know what I mean, I need to get out on my bike, or I need to go for a good long walk or something like that, and we're just very lucky, you know, food-wise, I wouldn't have been a great up until I was probably in my 20s. I didn't eat great. I was always looking for that comfort, you know what I mean? So I would eat a lot of junk and a lot of chocolate and stuff, like, so. Now, nothing really jumping out. Now, I remember being at Aston Villa, actually, when I was there, we had coaches, Kevin McDonald, Tony McAndrew, Gordon Counts, and they didn't complicate training. They let us train, played probably a lot of the time we done boxes, like rondos, as they call them now, and we had this little indoor hall, and we played five-a-sides in there, like, with Astro, and they were padded walls, like, but they were high-tempo, brilliant games of football.
Brilliant.
I learned an awful lot then about, like, what works for me in training. I love going to train, having a structure, boom, 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 and you're finished, like, and I suppose that the simpler I kind of keep it better, and once they're ticking all the boxes that we need to get them through, like a bit of competitiveness, with a technique, sometimes some tactical stuff and stuff like that, you know, like, I really enjoyed the training while I was there. I know there's actually a lot of stuff going around about bullying and all that, but, like, I remember me nearly having an argument that I just told him to fuck off.
you were the bully there, so.
Yeah. I remember I was injured one time, and I kicked the ball in the gym. I just fuck off, like. I know there's a few lads suffering over that days, I feel it, you know.
Yeah, there was a couple of things came out about that. All right, I don't know much about it, to be honest, but I kind of leave that to none of the anyway. If someone's willing to talk about it at some stage.
We haven't part of that in the camp anyway. We're all right.
Yeah. Are you full Barrister yet? Oh yeah, we're sorted. So
yeah.
You're doing a bit of coaching German Shepherd as well, Keith, yeah?
Ah, come here.
I saw that.
Lovely dog.
Lovely dog, and I still have it. I was dog there the other day. I had him doing bleeding tricks. His owner was looking at me, but now my dog died of cancer. He did nearly a year ago now. But absolute belter of a dog. He done some great stuff, but you wouldn't be able to approach me on the street. He'd kill you, like. That was one thing I couldn't train on field. It was too hard, but now.
Did you get into training the dog or what? Or
I trained him. I trained with,
because he was well trained. Like, I remember that.
Yeah. I done a lot of work with him, and he tested my patience greatly. And yeah, he was great to me. He was a great dog. But
is that like a hobby or something, or?
It was a hobby. I got a dog. He was my first dog. I was with my ex-girlfriend, and we got the dog, and I didn't know anything about dogs. I just thought, that dog looks good, we'll get him. And this dog was been wild, he was, and I didn't understand he'd have to be trained mentally and physically and all that, and Jesus. But we hadn't done great stuff, just the one thing, you couldn't socialise, and really couldn't socialise with people or other dogs around, so it's like walking around with a loaded gun at times, you know.
He was like you for your first 10 years as a player, I'd say.
I remember I actually had a dog trainer up here, right? And he was like, he says, do you trust me? And I said, what do you mean? Like, he goes, do you trust me? I said, I trust you with my dog. Like, in other words, I don't trust you. He goes, well, the dog's picking up on your energy, and he's not trusting people else.
Oh, it's going through.
Gotcha. That's deep.
Jesus.
Yeah, so it was vicious, he was.
Well, if you can get
What's the chart behind you? What's the chart behind you? Is that a league table? Yeah.
That's just, it's a planner.
For your coaching?
Just in general, yeah, a few things popping up. It probably looks a little bit more fancy.
No, it's good.
Yeah. I hope the red ones aren't day off.
The yearly planner it is. It's out the bleeding window now.
Well, if you can get...
How are you getting on anyway yourselves with all this?
Yeah, it's going all right. We're doing a bit now, all right. Like with Paul Byrne actually on there last week. With Roy O'Donovan.
Yeah,
So getting around to a good couple of lads there. As you said, like even yourself there, like you've some great stories, and even as a coach there now, like
yeah,
you've a lot to offer. You know, like a lot of people haven't gone through what you've gone through and come out the other side. Like
yeah,
for me, I'm like, yeah, you could get onto maybe Messi, Ronaldo, or these kind of guys, but I think someone,
You turn them down. You turn them down for Keith.
yeah, we turn them down for Keith, yeah, but no, but you've a lot more to offer because they haven't gone through the strains and the trials, and I even know myself what it's like, you know, to try and make it in football, and
yeah,
there's a huge opportunity in this country, I think, and Neil, you'll be of the same opinion, is that Premier League is not all the be all and end all. You know, there's other
yeah,
opportunities. You know, there's other countries. Like you look at Roy there now in Australia, having a great life as well at the side of it,
yeah,
and you know, there's
yeah,
Falvey's in America there now at the moment, and another Cork lad, and you're just looking at these guys and saying like, you know, there's other paths, like, because we all think go to England and then that's it, and then you get
yeah,
over there, and as you said, you sell a little bit of your soul to stay there, and kind of, you know, you put up with a lot to stay there because you think that's not the only or that's the only option I have, or if I go home I'm a failure, or I'm this or
yeah,
that, you know. But like you've done a lot of things like that.
yeah, yeah,
No one has, and people don't realize that, because we do come home and we do like, you look at even Sky Sports studio there, and it's there. You look at Gary Neville and Roy Keane and Jamie Carragher, and they come on, they're bantering each other and saying, "Oh yeah," like. But if someone gives them a bit of guff, it's like, "Oh, what did you win?" or "Who did you play with?" or, you know, and that to me is like, you know,
yeah.
that's not life. Do you know what I mean? It's like, who did you play for? Or this kind of crap, or
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like that's what I actually find that I'm quite relieved to be out of the bubble of football as such. You know what I mean? Like, because it does. Like, I was only talking to some friend of mine the other day, and it is like a bubble. Like, but you
yeah,
need to be in that bubble. You need to have your own bit about you to survive. Like, and I feel relieved to be actually somewhat normal anyway, and trying to live a normal life as well. You know, and having gone through it as well, you can look back and. Yeah, it's so tough, and like I was saying there about like there's other paths as well, like that. I would have thought England was the only way, and a lot of people driven to England nearly. There's no other avenue, but you see players now going to Germany, to Spain,
Yeah.
to Italy and stuff like that, and you wonder like, hey, so they're loving that, but everywhere I played and go, there I am. You know what I mean? So it wouldn't have been any different for me.
You're stuck with yourself.
Yeah. So,
well, look, Keith, if you get the Shamrock Rovers under 13s doing tricks like your dog was doing anyway, you'll be flying
Yeah.
anyway. So, but look, thanks for coming on tonight, and
Pleasure, Keith. Pleasure.
just everyone again, if you're watching this, you know, like and share it. That's the only way we're going to get round. Try to get on as many people as you can, and again, try and get on as many guests as we can, and something to offer. Thanks very much.